All right, so let's talk about this Shanquella Robinson story because this is a very confusing story. I spent about an hour last night watching videos, reading articles, trying to wrap my head around this story, how this could happen. Very heartbreaking story. So, Shanquella Robinson, 25-year-old from North Carolina, she travels to Mexico for a vacation for, just a good time with her friends, a group of friends from college. They all go to Mexico, have a good time, to party, to hang out, whatever. Only problem is Shanquella Robinson never made it back, but all of her friends did. And the story that was being told by the friends was that it was alcohol poisoning that caused her death. But then just recently, we have this video that surfaces. And now the new allegations that are coming out is that there was actually an altercation that took place the very first day that they arrived in Mexico. And as you can see, this is a video. I'm not going to play the video, but this is a video of the hotel room that they were staying in. It looks like a very nice hotel room on the beach, ocean view, palm trees, sand, just a very beautiful place to be. And you would think that this would be a perfect opportunity to spend time with your friends and just have fun, right? But sadly, it went in the opposite direction. Shanquella is this blurred out figure, completely blurred out figure. And during this whole video, she really has no interest in fighting. She has no interest in defending herself, and she's getting beaten up pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And if you look at this video, there's certain points in times where you're wondering how the person who's holding the camera is not stepping in to stop this. Because much like you see like UFC fights, you see all these type of things, boxing matches, when things get out of hand, when you know that there is no chance of the other side defending themselves, the right thing to do is to step in and to stop that fight. And you would think the person holding the camera and all her friends who are watching this take place, because if you watch this video, you can hear her friends in the background commentating on this fight, but nobody is stepping in to defend their friend. What ends up happening is shortly after this video, this altercation takes place, a phone call is made. A phone call is made to Shanquella's mom by one of her friends, quote unquote. And one of the friends says, hey, Shanquella is not doing well. She's not feeling well. We think that it might be, she had too much to drink. She's throwing up. And the mom is not really freaking out. She's calm. She's just like, maybe it's just a hangover. They hang up the phone. Nothing is too out of the ordinary. Like you go to Mexico, you go on vacation, you're probably going to drink. You're probably going to, have alcohol. That's not out of the realm of normal possibilities. But then what happens next is really extremely weird. That same friend calls Shanquella's mom back and says, hey, the paramedics are here. They're trying to resuscitate Shanquella, but they're unable to resuscitate her. And she's gone. She passed away. And so initially, when this story came out, it was alcohol poisoning, because that was the narrative that the friends were presenting to the media, to the authorities, that this was a result of alcohol poisoning. And like I said previously, Shanquella, successful businesswoman, apparently she paid for some of these friends to actually come out on this vacation with her. And those same friends who she allegedly paid to spend time and have a good time in Mexico left her body in Mexico, in a different country, and flew back home to North Carolina. And now we have a report after the autopsy was done for the cause of death that reveals that she suffered a broken neck and spinal injuries. And that was actually the cause of death, not alcohol poisoning. So now we have a totally different scenario than what was first presented by this friend group that traveled out there with her. And like I said, if you watch this video, there are certain points throughout this video, and I'm not recommending that you watch this video. Let me be very clear on that. But there's certain points on this video where you can clearly see moments where you can see where possible neck injuries could have occurred. You can see it. You can see moments where possible spinal injuries could have occurred. You can pinpoint those moments. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I've watched enough football. I've watched enough UFC. I've watched enough boxing. I've watched enough of things of this nature to recognize, certain potential injuries. So now we have something very interesting because this took place in Mexico. This does not take place on U.S. soil. The Mexican authorities really have no interest in pursuing this case. They really have no interest in it because, think about it, it's two Americans who got involved in a personal physical altercation that led to death. Now the alleged people who might have caused this death are back in the United States. From a Mexican standpoint, a Mexican authority standpoint, they don't really have any interest of pursuing this case. So now it falls on the FBI, whether the FBI is going to get involved from a federal standpoint, because what could very well happen in this case is that we get no resolution. Her death goes unaccounted for, and we never truly know what happened unless the FBI steps in and does something. Now, I'm seeing reports now that the FBI may actually step in and start to figure out what actually happened. But, a lot of people think that having a lot of friends is a good thing. And don't get me wrong. Having friends and people who care about you is absolutely a good thing if they are actual friends, if they actually care about you. Because in this situation, it seems like the people that she went out there with were not her friends at all, did not love her at all, did not have her best interest in mind at all. And it's so crazy to me because how could you, treat somebody like that after they allegedly paid for you to get out there in the first place? It's jealousy, it's envy, it's rage, it's anger. These are all demons. And I want to read a scripture to you. It says, this is Jesus. He's asked the question by the Pharisees. They say, which is the most important commandment in the law of Moses? And Jesus replies, the most important commandment, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. Secondly, and equally important, love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus says the two most important commandments, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. That's Matthew 22. John 15, verse 12, it says, this is my commandment. This is from the mouth of Jesus. This is my commandment. Love each other in the same way I have loved you. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. And that's exactly what Jesus did for us. Jesus laid down his life for us. There is no greater love than to lay down your life for one's friends. So what does it mean when you do the opposite? What does it mean when you take your friend's life? You know, the interesting part is like the greatest commandment is to love God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. If people actually lived like this, if they actually loved God with all their heart, all their soul, all their mind, there's no way that there would be any place in their hearts to allow something like this to take place. To allow the death of a friend on a vacation to take place. There's no way that the rage, the jealousy, the anger would drive you to this point to take your own friend's life. Because remember, these are not just like casual friendships. I'm assuming maybe they are, but this is college friendships. They've known each other for at least 4 or 5 years now, at least. What type of demons do you have to have in your life that drives you to the point to take your friend's life? A second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbors, love your friends. Neighbor just means the person next to you. Love the person next to you as yourself. Because just as Jesus laid his life down for us, there is no greater love than for us to do the same. Does that mean that we literally sacrifice ourselves for other people? No, but that means that we sacrifice our anger, our rage, our jealousy. We sacrifice any ill intention that we might have towards other people, and we replace that with love, because that's what Jesus would do. It's a very sad story. Really makes no sense. And you know, your friends could really make or break you. The people that you choose to hang out with could really make or break you. Choose wisely. It's okay not to have a lot of friends. It's okay to have a small friend group. It's better to have friends who actually care and love you than friends who are just around you for what you can do for them, how you can benefit them. My prayers go out to the family of Shanquella. I pray that we, figure out what actually happened. And I pray that, the FBI can come through and give us some answers, because like I said, otherwise this case could really go unsolved and nobody could be held responsible for this potentially. So let me know what you think about this. Comment, subscribe. I'm out.